Shalom, giving all glory, honor, and praises due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. It's the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, in whom we praise. Double honors to our apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone who rule well over the flock of Israel. Shalom, and salutations to you, Akim, who are pushing the words of truth and sincerity, to all the scattered elect, Akim and Akwathim, Israelite foreigners as well. Shalom. Lord willing, Abarat Tazah. This video is edifying. I'm Rapah Math. And today we're just going to address a little ego. The ego, right? Which an ego is pretty much a word kind of like defining the mind or a person's self-esteem and self-importance. It's how you think about yourself, more or less. And it's tied into pride even. You know, you can have a negative or a positive way you think about yourself, but it's based upon where you put yourself in other people's world. You know, it has a lot to do with the world around you. So without getting too deep on ego or self-importance, you got to understand in this truth, the reality of it is you're not as important as you think you are. And Yahweh Shai will always emphasize that it's best to stay focused on your mission rather than try to promote some kind of ego promotion. All right. So it's mission. We're mission oriented. All right. And so Yahweh Shai's sufferings foretold in Mark 10 is the topic of discussion. And it goes, I go into it. Let's get it. 32, verse 32. I'm going to read down to 45. It says, and they were in the way going up to Jerusalem, and Yahweh Shai went before them, and they were amazed. And as they followed, they were afraid. And he took again the 12 and began to tell them what things should happen unto him, saying, behold, we go up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man shall be delivered unto the chief priests and unto the scribes, and they shall condemn him to death, and shall deliver him to the Gentiles. And they shall mock him, and shall scourge him, and shall spit upon him, and shall kill him. And the third day he shall rise again. And James and John, the sons of Zebedee, come unto him, saying, Master, we would that thou shouldest do for us whatsoever we shall desire. And LT says, we want you to do us a favor. It says, and he said unto them, what would ye that I should do for you? And then said unto him, then they said unto him, grant us that we may sit, one on the right hand and the other on thy left hand, in thy glory. And LT, when you sit on your glorious throne, we want to sit on places of honor next to you, one on the right and the other on the left. But Yahweh Shai said unto them, you know not what ye ask. Can ye drink of the cup that I drink of? And can you be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with? Let's get that real quick with Yahweh Shai's responses, because they're simply asking a egotistical question. Now, they're asking him to grant them. And when you look that word grant up, it's basically dealing with a reward. It's like wages. You know, you go to work and you expect your wages. It's what's due to you. So they're basically saying, for all of what we're doing, can we, you know, be extolled next to you on each side? Can we grab our seats as the top in the kingdom of heaven? You know, but the Lord says, he returns it back by saying, you know not what ye ask. Can you drink of the cup that I drink of? Let's go into that word, what he means by can you drink of. Now that might not be the greatest definition, but basically actually it is. It says figuratively to receive into the soul what serves to refresh, strengthen, nourish it unto life eternal. You know how you need to be grown, or you need to grow up. Even in life they say grow up. You know, you need to mature, you need to become aged, more self-aware, right, of your mistakes. That's drinking figuratively to receive into the soul what serves to refresh, strengthen, nourish it unto life eternal. So guess what? That drinking, in order to get strong, you got to put your muscles under tests of pressure, and you got to actually break them apart and break them down in order to get strong. You got to break them to build them back up. So to drink in order to get strong, to figuratively get to the point where you're nourished enough to receive life everlasting, you got to be broken down in so many ways. Now he goes on to say, and can you be baptized with the baptism that I'm baptized with? So let's get that word. It's two words here, baptized and baptisma. Let's work with baptisma. It says here, immersion and submersion of calamities and afflictions with which one is quite overwhelmed. You see, you're quite overwhelmed with these calamities and afflictions. Let's see what AI is going to say about this. Calamities and afflictions that can overwhelm somebody. Life can present numerous calamities and afflictions that can leave individuals feeling completely overwhelmed and struggling to cope. These can range from deeply personal tragedies to broader societal or natural disasters. Sudden loss or violent loss of a loved one. Serious illness or injury. Traumatic events like assaults or accidents, abuse and neglect. Major life changes, natural disasters, human-caused disasters, public health emergencies, systemic issues. All of these things are the calamities and afflictions in which you will feel quite overwhelmed. But that is the baptism that the Lord said He's going to baptize you with. So He said, these men, right, great apostles actually, asking for the right hand. They're doing their ego checking. They're making sure that they're going to be good egality, for lack of better words, man. Whereas Yahushua just told him a story about how he got to go through pain and humiliation and be sacrificed. So it's not only is it the timing, but it's an egotistical thing to ask, man. So he says, can you deal with the stress and the trials and the tribulations of the baptism in which I will be baptized? It says, and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with. NLT says, you don't know what you're asking. Are you able to drink from the bitter cup of suffering I am about to drink? He just told you, he just exposed you that he's going to be crucified. He just predicted his death. And these men are talking about, can I have the honor to sit next to you on your right hand and on next to your glorious throne? He said, first, can you drink of this cup of suffering? He says, are you able to be baptized with the baptism of suffering I must be baptized with? So understand this truth. It's not an ego serving thing. If you wanted your ego to be served, you should have been like a TikToker or a streamer. Should have had a Twitch account, and, or go out there and learn how to dance like Chris Brown, or, maybe the Lord would have blessed you with some type of physical ability to walk around and get girls' numbers all day. But you're here with us. You're here with Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua's men, who is Yahushua is emphasizing that they have to have the mindset of servitude and humility first. It goes on, NLT, oh yes, they reply, we are able. Then Yahushua told them, you will indeed drink from my bitter cup and be baptized with my baptism of suffering. And then he told them, I'll go back to KJV, but to sit on my right hand and on my left hand is not mine to give, but it shall be given to them for who it is prepared. And when the 10 heard it, they began to be much displeased with James and John. Right? I said they were indignant, NLT. Right? So they were annoyed as hell that question would ask, because they see that was such an egotistical thing to ask, especially when the Lord is talking about bearing his burdens that he about to bear, like death. That's when somebody prioritizes their self over this truth, and it makes the brotherhood really, as the word said there, it makes us indignant. That's what's to be expected when you want to talk about, you know, in a serious time like that. You want to go into how you hope that you could be uplifted and held up high esteem, right hand of Yahushua in the kingdom and the left hand of Yahushua in the kingdom, man. Whereas you ain't even drinking that cup yet, man. I wanted to get that word indignant just to show you that the rest of the 12, it says to be indignant, moved with indignation, to be very displeased, sore displeased, greatly afflicted. Right? So that spirit of just took over them like, what? How dare you? And that's the mindset that we have even to this day. You know, men want their cake and eat it too, so to speak. They want their egos to be fulfilled while serving Yahweh Shem Yahushua with all long suffering. It's just impossible. What rather should be had is that you seek the kingdom. Or rather that you should, mindset you should be in is being rooted and grounded in this truth, understanding that shame and humility is very much a part of maintaining servanthood. This is the book of Philippians 2, and I'm going to start at verse 3. It says, let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind let each esteem other better than themselves. So if anything, there's no room to be selfish. NLT, don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble. Think of others as better than yourselves. And that mindset knocks out all of that vanity. Let's look up that word vain and conceit. That vanity got to be knocked out, man. Vanity, groundless. Remember, he's talking about being grounded and rooted and built up in humility and sacrifice and self-denial. Whereas the world wants you to be the most important thing since sliced bread. Look at your Kanye's and look at your celebrities, man. They want to be able to be bowed down to for basically nothing these days. But the Lord emphasizes the opposite, showing you what true leadership is. He explained in that same precept later on in Mark that in order to, he didn't come to be serviced unto, roughly paraphrasing, but he came to serve. And that's the mindset that he led with. Therefore, that's the mindset, that's the only way you could achieve what he achieved. That glory that he achieved, you have to be rooted in that same humility and sacrifice. Vainglory ain't the way. Groundlessness, self-esteem, empty pride. So you can see the ego down here. Empty glorying, self-conceit, man. We got to run from that like hell. Vain opinions and error. Empty pride. See, self-esteem, man. That's there for a reason. So that all this talk about, I don't feel good enough to do this work. First, I don't like the way he spoke to me. You got to be humble. Humble means lowly to the ground. And if you're not lowly, guess what? You become humbled. It says rather be, what's the word that it uses here? Lowliness, meekness. Look at all these precepts about humility. Serving the Lord with all humility, Acts 20:19. Ephesians 4:2, with all lowliness and meekness and long suffering, from bearing one another in love. Colossians 2:23, which have indeed a show of wisdom and will worship in humility and neglecting of the body, not in honor to the satisfying of the flesh. You got to get out your flesh. It says in Thayers, it says having a humble opinion of oneself, a deep sense of one's moral littleness, a deep sense of one's moral littleness. I must ask AI what it thinks about that, because that's something right there, man. Let's get it. The phrase "a deep sense of one's moral littleness" refers to the concept of humility. It describes a state of mind characterized by a humble opinion of oneself and recognition of one's own moral insignificance and lack of pride or arrogance. The concept is often associated with lowliness of mind and modesty. That's it, man. That's the concept. Do you not get the concept? Lowliness of mind. So that's what we strive for, man. We go off, but that's what we strive for, to be selfless instead of being vain and always thinking about yourself, man, boasting of yourself. We're not encouraged to do that. Remember, this is encouragement. This is chicken soup for the soul. Look at the top. He said, if there be therefore any consolation in Yahushua. NLT says, if there any encouragement from belonging to Yahushua, is there any encouragement? Any comfort from his love? Any fellowship together in the spirit? Are your hearts tender and compassionate? Then make me truly happy by agreeing wholeheartedly with each other, loving one another, and working together with the one mind and purpose. And you can't do that if you're self-serving in your own interests. You got your whole mind made up that you ain't gonna let your ego go, and you can't cooperate now. You ain't got the spirit of sound love and one mind on you. You're not of one accord because you're of your own accord. You agree to your own self-interests. And you self-serving. You're too ambitious to be humble. Therefore, you can't regulate yourself and your moods, man. And then when you get humbled, what happens is you act out. And all the brothers trying to do is diminish that damn ego that's in the way so they can have some type of cooperation from you. Verse 4, look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. NLT, don't look out only for your own interests. Yeah, we got a lot of self-serving ways, and this truth, you definitely got to have a 9 to 5. You got to work. You got to take care of, to the best ability of your loved ones, right? We promote that. We understand that. There's a lot of understanding that goes for it, but you also can't be a bastard unto what's most important, servanthood. How do you get the kingdom? You got to serve the king. And the king told you, while I'm gone, you got to be in service to others. Feed my sheep. Do you love me? Feed my sheep. Do you love me? Feed my sheep. Do you love me? Feed my sheep. You can't be self-serving and do things, being about yourself and looking after your own interests and not take any consideration of those around you. It says, but take an interest in others too. So learn how to balance that out, man. Don't completely stop taking care of yourself, but trust in the Lord. He gonna make it so that you could do both. You might get pulled one way and pulled another way, but he gonna make it possible. I brought this out. This video was edifying. Just want to close on that. Till next time. Shalom.